Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. Super excited. We're jumping in and getting things started in our, we don't know what we're going to call it. It could be the Jim and Steph garden, the HortTube garden. Don't know what it's going to be called here down at the gardens of southeastern North Carolina. The Johnson family, their nursery is right back here behind us. They have a garden center over here, and they've started on this amazing botanic garden. And we covered that in the first video about introducing this garden, but we're down here for the first day actually doing work. And Steph and I are just kind of used to, my business evolved over the years from a one-man landscape company to having several employees, and then having several employees at a nursery. And then a few years ago, I just went back down to just me and then Steph, and Steph. And so we're not used to people jumping in and really helping. And this morning we've had hands all over the place helping us out to get started here. This spot, it was just under grassy weeds and lots of tree limbs. So a little bit of debris here and there, but within an hour and a half, we had all of the sticks and litter off the ground that couldn't be mowed so that we could get in here and mow it, and then took the zero turn through here and mowed a portion back here. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, this little first piece that we're putting under wood chips is probably about a quarter acre, something like that. We've got some plans. We're in the process here. He had a gentleman donate a ton of wood chips to this garden project here, and I mean a ton. They're a little chunky, chunkier than the wood chips we would normally get from being chipped up in the neighborhood or something. So it's pretty big pieces in here. But we are not planting anything until next February. And he's generously allowed us to just have access to that pile up back there, and it's a lot of wood chips. And we're just gonna bury this in, close to 10 or 11 inches of wood chips, get this grass smothered out. Any of it that tries to poke its way up through, we'll deal with that when the time comes. But really, this is within 2 hours this morning, we've gotten sticks up, got it mowed, and we have 2 loads of wood chips down so far, and more, many more to come. And we're excited to jump in. We're going to get some measurements done so that when we come back and do the next video here, we'll be doing some planning and talking through that. As you know, I could probably change the name of the channel to Wood Chips with Jim Putnam, because it seems like when I started the project in Raleigh and I started talking about it, people have really had just tons of questions about it. And the way we started the project back in Raleigh was we scalped the grass off as low as it would go. Rather than spray the whole thing out, which I could have done, I could have just taken glyphosate and just sprayed everything out. I decided to take the approach of mowing it low and then denying it light and denying it, some air, but it still has air through the wood chips, but mostly denying it light. Grass loves light, right? And grassy weeds, it feeds off the sun. So once you deny it sun, you can get rid of some portion of it. So the reason we mow it off is to make sure none of it's sticking up through, the wood chips, because there's no way you're killing it if it's sticking up above. So we're basically getting it mowed as low as possible, getting a thick layer of wood chips. Something is going to dare pop its head up through, and that's at the point where you can make the decision to spray or pull or whatever you want to do. But we will have lessened the amount of chemical that we'd have to use out here by killing 90+% of it, just burying it in wood chips. 2 quick things here. The fact that these wood chips are chunkier, that these parts of these trees that have been chipped up. This was a clearing project over in New Bern. They're clearing off 70 acres of trees for some sort of growth project over in New Bern. And it's all gonna come here and be reused in some positive way and not be burned. So I'm kind of nice to take something that was going to be burned in the past and turn it into something positive. But the fact that this is so chunky and is not going to lay quite as flat, it's probably going to have a moisture issue. It's not going to have enough moisture. It's going to easily dry out in this pile. If you pile it high enough, I could get it composting. But if it's only 11 or 12 inches and it's this chunky, I'm probably going to have to add some water to it over the course of the season. We have an irrigation pipe that runs through here already. They had used this in the past at the nursery for something, don't know what. We're going to have access to this irrigation, and we'll run once we lay out the paths and we figure out where everything's going to be, there will be irrigation in these beds. This is sandy soil here, and because of that, occasionally we're going to need to water, even what I would call pretty well established things, in order to keep this looking like a place people actually want to drive out of their way to visit. It's going to require some irrigation. We got the pipe here, and we also are going to need the irrigation to get these things breaking down. And so that's the plan on how to take very chunky wood chips and reduce them to compost in, I think the clock is on now, probably about 10 months before we start planting here. After a few hours, Steph and I have gotten some measurements for this space, and it is right at about 11,000 square feet. The first piece that we're doing, and then it goes beyond that. But the first piece is, so it's right, that's right at a quarter acre, which is about what I had guessed, lucky guess. And we've laid all this out so that when we come back, you're gonna see another video in May where we're gonna be talking about garden design. And we already have some ideas in mind. We wanna do something. We want to do an entry to this garden. It's really knock your socks off kind of an entry into the garden. And then from there, I want it to become a teaching space. So it's going to have a lot of interesting plants, commercially available plants, and then hopefully some interesting things that, you know, can be not your everyday things, as you would expect. As you would expect from a garden that Steph and I are in the process of putting in. So a lot of planning. You know, it'll be fun picking trees that will take up, you know, be in this space, and the shrubs and all the parts and pieces of it. We're very feel very fortunate that the Johnsons have included us in this in their garden here, and that we have the opportunity to really show off some things. We already first day working here, trying to get the wood, you know, start to get this under control and get these wood chips down and get all of this happening. A high school group showed up at a horticulture class from a high school here in North Carolina, and the teacher had watched our videos in the past, had shared our videos with the class in the past, and we were able to spend some time with them this morning. A few of them are actually interested in going into horticulture, because I always like the opportunity to you know, have those conversations where I can, and that's going to be ultimately the purpose of this garden, is hopefully a place where people can come and enjoy a garden, enjoy flowering things, enjoy beautiful things, but also maybe take something from it as well, maybe learn a little something that you can carry with you as well back to your own garden. So thank you guys so much for following along. As you can tell, we're excited about it. You know, jumping in here and getting started on this. When we come back, this will all be wood chipped. Irrigation will go in shortly after that. So we'll have the option of irrigating when we need to irrigate, and we'll have some sort of plan in place that we're going to paint out on the ground the next video. There is a playlist down below the video. Two things. Johnson's Nursery is listed down below if you're interested in coming down and seeing the gardens of southeastern North Carolina. And the other link that's down there is the playlist for the new garden at the Gardens of Southeastern North Carolina for us. So if you want to go back and watch the first video where we announced it, you can, and then this one, and that playlist will just continue to develop. So anyone stepping into video 40 or whatever it is will be able to go back to the beginning and watch it from the start. So thank you guys so much for following along.